Hey guys, welcome. So I do not like to eat radishes. I actually do not like them at all, but I grow radishes for 5+ very specific reasons, and I'm going to share those with you today. And stay tuned till the end because we're going to make free fertilizer out of our radish debris. We're going all the way back to March 13th. This was my overwintering broccoli, Green Magic, which did fair considering we had unprecedented weather with ice for 3 weeks and really cold temperatures. Once I removed the broccoli and my cover crop of fall fallen leaves, we're ready to plant those radishes. That very same day, I planted scarlet early globe and white icicle from seeds, and you can see about a month later there's not a whole lot of action going on. They're slowly growing. They're just little nothings at this point, but wait until you see. On this same day in the same bed, I went ahead and put my cherry tomatoes in. These are excellent companion plants. Interplanting radishes with tomatoes as a combination or complementary pair can provide a lot of good benefits. The leaves of these radishes are going to act as a trap or sacrificial crop for some of the early pests that are coming out, including flea beetles. Flea beetles were just absolutely horrific this spring. And as we go through these pictures and videos, you're looking at some of the harvest. So a month later, I decided it's time to get these radishes out of this bed so we give more space now to the tomatoes and I can do a little working on them. Unfortunately, I did pull one tomato plant out as I was harvesting the radishes. I was trying to be quick about it, right? So, number two, this harvest of growing radishes provides some food for my family. I don't like to eat radishes, but they do. I was able to put that tomato plant back into the ground. Another reason I like to grow radishes in my garden beds is because it is providing a cover crop, basically. And that does so many different things for your soil. It protects the soil, it keeps weeds from infiltrating into that area. Think of the radishes and their leaves as like a living mulch that's keeping that soil also at an optimal temperature, either warm or keeping it cool, keeping it moist. And since the radishes are not competing for nutrients, they're fairly kind of shallowish. It depends on what variety, though. The icicles did go farther into the soil, but they're not competing. Number 4 for me is I love radish flowers. They, to me, are just so petite and delicate and beautiful. And not only do I love them, the beneficial insects really love them, and that will bring them into your garden if you let your radishes flower. After the flowers come radish pods. You can eat those, but if you're like me, you don't even like the taste of those either. So I always let a couple plants flower, produce seed pods, and then I let them dry and I save the seeds so I don't have to buy radish seeds anymore. With our radish harvest complete, you can see the soil is now naked. It needs protection. We cannot leave it like this. So I'm going to use garden straw. Now that we have our harvest, what are we going to do with all of the radishes? We can eat the roots, but what are we going to do with the leaves? We can also eat the leaves. We can saute them, eat them like greens. Very, very nutritious. But on this particular day, I decided I am going to make some homemade fertilizer that is free and natural. So I'm putting all of the tops, the radish leaves. There are a few of the rejects in there too. There were 2 small or split actual radishes in there as well. My husband went through the radishes and he was the one that only kept the best of the best. So you will see some little chunks of radish in there as well. So I'm kind of packing this into this container that I've repurposed and reused multiple times to make homemade fertilizer. Getting every last bit of the leaves and compressing them down. They're roughly chopped, roughly torn, and we're just going to fill it up with water, and we're going to fill up until the soil, the water level is above the leaves. So it'll just take a minute or two for me, get that water in there, press down on those leaves so that they're below the water. I'm going to put on the lid, but I'm going to leave it just ultra microscopically ajar. because I want to let the air out. And I do not want any critters to accidentally crawl in there and drown, right? Plus, you know, we got to let the off-gassing out if there's any gas bubbles that develop. Hey guys, it's been about 2 weeks. Let's go check on the fertilizer. And I meant to tell you, I kept it out of direct light, so it's kind of hidden out of the sun. Guess who's going to benefit from this fertilizer we're making? Yep. All right, here it is. Out of direct light. Still has that little bit of an ajar. Oh, it's really rank. I mean, it's bubbling. It doesn't really smell bad at all. I can't smell it. I don't know why I said that. Okay, well, the bubbling has slowed down. I don't know why I said that, guys. It don't smell as bad as, I mean, why did I even say that? Okay, it does have a bit of an odor. It does. So what we're going to do, oh, it looks like a mosquito flew out. What we're going to do, we are going to drain it into a big 2 or 3 gallon, well, one of those. And we're going to use it as a fertilizer. I may even dilute it a little bit, but this is supposed to be really rich in calcium, iron, nitrogen, and that is exactly what my tomatoes need right about now. I think what I might do also is I'm going to dissolve some gypsum into our fertilizer once I get all the debris drained out, because it's about time for some treatment for my tomatoes, because some of them are starting to put on flowers, and that's when I like to use a little bit of gypsum fertilizer or amendment into the soil or into a liquid fertilizer. And we've had so much rain. You can see everything's damp. I have to wait till the rain's done to mix up this fertilizer and feed, because it would be horrible to feed my plants all these great things and then we get more and more rain. So I'm going to check the weather, and then after that, mix up that fertilizer and the gypsum, and then we're going to feed, and hopefully everyone will be super happy. All right, guys, well, I hope you enjoyed this video on radishes, and I've got one more thing to talk to you about if you've been a long time viewer. If not, this video is concluded. Thank you for watching. If you watched my video about 2.5 years ago when I had an issue in that bed where we harvested the radishes, well, let's go have a peek. Look at how much my cherry tomatoes have grown just since we harvested the radishes. That is pretty amazing. Yeah, so this bed about 2.5 years ago had some kind of weird larvae, and if I still have the pictures, I'll put it here on the screen. And I tried to have a radish harvest at that point, but these little gross things, larvae of some sort, were all over my radishes. And I don't know if it's a maggot. I kind of concluded it was some type of maggot, some kind of root maggot, destroying all of my radishes. Since then, this bed has been used continuously and continuously amended as needed throughout the seasons, and the soil seems to be okay now. I'm not having any issues with root crops, so I guess that was just a temporary infection of some kind of weird growing larvae. It seems to have cleared itself. I also wondered if it was from click beetle larvae, because a couple of these beds had click beetles. That's like a 2-year process. They burrow underground and, I don't know, live there, and then they come out as a click beetle 2 years later, something like that. So I did the potato method. You cut the potato in half, and they would like get a wire worms is what, yeah, wire worms for click beetles. But this, in this bed, was something totally different. It wasn't wire worms, unless they have an immature larvae stage that looks like a weird microscopic slug. I don't know, but it seems to be okay now, so that's great. Good news, right? All right, guys, well, I will talk to you soon. Bye.